Autoline Daily is brought to you by Dow Automotive Systems. Learn how we can help you arrive at cost-effective and innovative solutions to your toughest industry challenges at dowautomotive.com.
Here are today's top headlines. More news about the GM Opel deal, Kia unveils its new flagship sedan, and Russian auto workers reenact the October Revolution. Up next, we'll be back with the news behind the headlines. This is Autoline Daily for Monday, October 19th, 2009. I'm Jim Hall of 2953 Analytics, taking the reins today, filling in for my friend John McElroy. And here's the news. Our lead story sounds like it could have been pulled from one of our summer shows. GM, what about Opel? Keeping, selling, or shutting down? The Wall Street Journal reports this morning that the EU, European Union, has questioned the Opel bidding process and may be suggesting that GM should be allowed to give it another go. Now, that's not exactly what GM wants, since it already has a deal with supplier Magna to acquire a majority share of Opel. But if it's determined that EU state aid and market rules were violated by the German government, who linked its €4.5 billion aid to assist the Magna acquisition of Opel, then GM may be right back where it started with Opel some 5 months ago. Again, right now things are still on track with Magna, but we'll have to see what the EU recommendation is and how GM reacts to it. Our friends at Autoblog report that Kia has officially unveiled its top-of-the-line sedan. Known as the K7 in Korea and the Cadenza elsewhere in the world, it looks very similar to the KND5 concept the company revealed at the Seoul Motor Show last April. Its stylish body, penned under the supervision of Kia design chief Peter Schreier, advances the brand's design theme and banishes memory of the snoozy-looking perpetual rental car Amante to the scrapyard. Look for the car to make its official debut at several Middle Eastern auto shows later this year. It's getting tougher and tougher to make a living stealing cars. According to USA Today, reported vehicle thefts have fallen to a 20-year low, even though the number of cars on the road for the same period of time has doubled. The FBI estimates about 960,000 vehicles were stolen in 2008, less than half the number of 1991. And it's no wonder. Today's cars feature space-age technology far beyond simple alarms. Ignition immobilizers, GPS tracking systems, the ability to shut a car down if it's stolen. Beyond the technology, law enforcement has cracked down on theft rings and auto traffickers. The chances of having a car stolen from the road today are about a third of what they were in 1989. So why haven't my insurance costs gone down? GM's having trouble finding a new chief financial officer to replace current CFO Ray Young, due primarily to pay restrictions imposed by the Department of Treasury. According to the Wall Street Journal, the company's finding it hard to find qualified executives willing to work for less than they would make in the open market with a company whose future is not quite certain either. The federal government's imposed pay limits on top executives of firms that receive bailout money will allow General Motors to offer stock options, but not more than $1 million in annual salary for a new CFO. Hundreds of workers protested Russian automaker AvtoVAZ in the country over the weekend. According to the AFP, workers protested job cuts and demanded that management resign and give them a pay raise. Nice trick if you can do it. Last month, the struggling automaker announced it would cut over a quarter of its workforce due to the economic slump. Coming up next, some of my thoughts on the news vacuum that seems to be hitting the auto industry. We'll be right back after this. News, like nature, abhors a vacuum. And in an absence of information, the 24/7 monster that is the internet demands content. And it cares little from where this content issues. If you go back to how things were before we got into this cycle, two things come to mind. One of them is the acquisition of Volvo by Ford. This was one of those things that happened in sort of the dead time between the Detroit Auto Show and Chicago. And nobody was talking about it at the Detroit Auto Show, and when Ford said they were going to be buying Volvo, and it was done by Jack Nasser himself, it was a surprise to pretty much everybody. Same held true for the acquisition of Chrysler by Daimler-Benz. You know, the acquisition of equals, the merger of equals. That was a deal that was announced on Monday publicly with a press conference in Stuttgart and in Auburn Hills. No one knew. This was one that got the media completely blindsided. And it didn't leak out because these companies sort of guard acquisitions very, very, very closely. And that takes us to the new rumor that's circulating this week: Chrysler dumping Dodge as a car nameplate. This is going to happen real soon, I was told. It's inevitable because they have one dealership. So if you don't have standalone Dodge dealerships and Chrysler dealerships and all the cars are in the same showroom, you wouldn't want to have duplicated vehicles, except tooling starting on the new Chrysler 300, next generation 300, and the next generation Dodge Charger. The Charger looks like a Charger. It's a really strong product. Now, it's a strong product in a segment that isn't as strong as it was when those cars debuted, but it's still an important segment. And when you see the two cars side by each, someone who's thinking about one won't be cross-considering the other. In other words, incremental sales. But the rumor's going around because they're going to use a Dodge Ram logo for the trucks, and they're not going to use that for the cars. So obviously they're de-emphasizing the cars. This is apparently the rationale. You don't tool a car up with the intention of dropping it immediately. So that doesn't make any sense. If you think about it, Fiat, the partner with Chrysler, is a company that uses multiple nameplates. Some of them sold at the same dealerships, and some of them very similar vehicles. Alfa Romeo, Lancia, Fiat for regular passenger cars, and then they have these companies, Maserati and Ferrari, that are usually sold out of similar stores, and they find space for that. They can make this work. Now, a Dodge passenger car in 2017 or 2018, the chairman has said, because something worked in the past, it may not work in the future. That's true. But I think we're going to see Dodge around for at least another 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6 years. It seems to come back to an old adage. Those who know don't talk, and those who talk rarely know. Something to take in mind the next time you hear one of those sort of rumors or stories that just can't be true. That's it for today's top news in the global automotive industry. Again, I'm Jim Hall from 2953 Analytics. Thanks for watching.